Hello, I'm going to present to you the progress of my project, my final major project, Ribbit the Bullfrog. Here is the first build of the game, back when it was just a basic, prototype. Um, Here's the first build. It was very primitive, it was very small, and, it wasn't as polished as the later builds, but it was a test of the ideas and the concepts. It was seeing what I could do in the time given. It is very broken, but it has it's a lot of the very basic stuff that has made its way into the final build. It's, it's very primitive. I was, playing around at the time a little bit with physics for things falling and such, but it's not the best, and you can sort of see the issues when I show like swinging here. It's got a bit of a sluggishness to it. It's not got any physics, but it can. But at the in this current build, things could dangle and you could whip yourself around a little bit. So it was mostly simple, mostly just trying things out, seeing what I could do. Um, yeah. Um, this is the 1.0 build. At this point, we'd gotten a few builds in, we'd sort of tried a few things out, and we'd start working on some of the more detailed elements of gameplay. We were working on stuff like particle effects for walking around. There is one build that was before this, but I don't. That appears to have gone. I don't know where that's gone. I probably saved over it, but at this point, like, it's a little buggy. But at this point in the process, like, um, ideas were starting to sort of come to a head. We'd worked out a few things. We'd worked out how to get the collisions properly working, so you can go around like slopes, and so you can sort of properly maneuver a lot better. Things are starting to sort of pull to like they're not perfect. There's still a lot of issues with the level design and such, but it's clear that like there's something going on with this. It's starting to all pull together. There's glitches like with the particle effects, like sometimes it just won't start the particles and then it'll just randomly start making particle effects. Um, so that was one of the problems. But we have animations, we have a basic formality of stuff being made at this point. Um, this is the this is the 0.02 build. This was before that. I misread it. I apologize. So this was the build before I'd started work on that last build. The steam particles are still there, but there's a distinct slipperiness to the character. Um, Things aren't quite working. He goes up hills a little weird, like the hills, he sort of slips down them a little weirdly, and he can't even make his way over this one. You kind of have to jump over this and hope. And like, you can see where it's starting to become yeah, this is an earlier build. That swinging though has been put into place since, and it works really nicely. Um, there's nothing additional to this area at this point. It's literally just kind of blank. But it was, an area. It was still an area to just try stuff out and see what I could pull off. You know. Um, the next build is the 2.0 build, and in this build, everything started started coming together a little bit, right? It's not perfect, but like we have like a bit of a menu screen going on here. Um, we have a bit of a menu screen going on here. Um, we have some sort of sprite art. We have this guy. This, however, leads to a bug in the game, a large bug, uh, in that you can't end the conversation, I think. It was something like that. Uh, After you finish this conversation, you end, and there's a bug where you can't move. You are unable to move and you're unable to shoot your tongue. It's a soft lock. It was caused by the it was caused by the tongue. Uh, when you enter the AOE for the frog for that guy, basically it stops you doing those abilities because they were breaking things, and it means that you could whip yourself around during the talking. So I decided to make a system where if you're in that area, you just can't grapple around you, and you can't move when he's talking. Um, so that was a big bug. This ended up getting fixed in the 2.1 build, as shown here. Still a little broken on the title screen, but hey, you know, what are you going to do? Things got moved around a little bit. I moved the thing upwards a little bit so it wouldn't be in the way, covering him up. Um, I want a job. Great, you agreed. Kid's an idiot. I mean, of course you agreed. Yep. So as you can see, you can't really walk away in this conversation, and suddenly after this, you can. There are issues with that, but you know, it's working. And, you know, the grappling mechanics are still in play. They're working really good. The bug with the steam still exists, though. And there are still, like, a couple of other things that are a little bit messable. There's, like, still collision issues that have yet to be patched. Um, Early on, one of the big problems I realized is that the right click is a little bit overpowered, but there's not much I could really do about that. One of the bigger problems is this, in that your momentum is kept when you die, and that's something I haven't worked out a solution for. I didn't have time for, but this is one of the earlier. This is, you know, it's one of the more recent builds, and you can see like the game is starting to come together a little bit more. It's starting to. It's not always working, but it's, you know, functioning when it needs to, and it's, you know, it's got a good, um, it's got the concepts all working, you know. Um, Actually, I can show you I'm going to show you the 0.2 glitches, because they're in that version as well, um, with the stuff. With the endless, you know, yeah. Something that I worked out fairly early on in the development process was that the zip grapple is just, it's too overpowered. It becomes, you know, overly necessary. It makes moving around so much quicker, but it's not something that I want to remove because I think it adds a lot of fun to the game. But it distinctly, you know, it affects the way that you interact in the environment. Yeah, like if you yeah. Point is, um, yeah, that's one of the bigger issues. Um, this is the 1.0 build. So this is around the time everything started coming together, right? And this is the one of the more recent builds. This is after we started implementing sound effects and um, fixing up the particle effects. We also implemented um, we implemented sound effects and an open mouth for when he's sort of attaching to things. Also, there is now like a pointer for where you're going to hit because a lot of players criticized the fact that they didn't know if they were actually going to hit anything. So we thought that maybe it would be a good idea to have a crosshairs just so that people playing would know, oh, that's where I'm gonna hit. Yeah, those collision bugs are still a thing. But yeah, here you see that we now have sound effects for the guy. Um, it wasn't entirely finished, but yeah. But yeah, everything's starting to come together now. Another feature that was implemented was being able to repel yourself up and down, because I figured that to make it more useful and utilitarian, being able to repel up and down your tongue would be a good idea. It makes this ability a lot more useful that you can actually have better precision by swinging like this. Hello, I'm an abstract shape. I act as a reward for exploring and finding secrets. Yeah, so now I've started implementing little secret things and rewards for doing stuff. Um, let's actually find myself. Yeah. Here, there's now a down arrow because one of the criticisms that I received from a player was that they got to this room and didn't know where to go. So by having a downwards arrow, maybe players will be able to, actually tell where they're going. This is a bug that I had not yet spotted, so it's good to know that this is something to work out. And there's me. Yeah, this is, I just wrote a rant about the process in the game because I thought it would be a fun little thing for, the game to have. Yeah, one of the bugs. Yeah. So that's that build, and then this is the most recent build that I've made of the game. It now has a little icon, and yeah, I think I'm fairly happy with how this has turned out. Now has environmental sounds to go alongside the like other sounds. You know, yeah, the mouth open effect um, is now a lot better. If you press the shift button, you can just open the mouth. Oh, jeez. You can just be happy. Um, and yeah, when you get to. Oh, God. Yeah, okay, that's the. There we are. See, this is why the like new ability of the tongue is now really useful, because it means that you can now, you know. And then finally, you make your way to the end of the level, and there's just a bunch of abstract shapes, but they're there to like have you sort of able to like experiment, try things out, you know. Try some anomalous grappling. Yeah. Before over here, it was just kind of an empty room. There was nothing really in it, and it just kind of it felt a little lonely. So I added some things to it. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I'm fairly happy with how this project has turned out. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. There's now a little tongue bit at the end, so that like it you can see where the end has latched onto, and you know, work stuff up from there. Overall, I'm really happy with how this game has turned out. I think it's really like high quality for the effort put in. Um, and like, you know, I think I did a really good job. I think I definitely have issues. Like, there are a load of bugs that I need to sort out, and you know, given more time, I would want it to be a lot bigger of a game. You know, I had the ambition to make it sort of a bigger Metroidvania type thing, and I just didn't have the like. I wasn't able to dedicate enough the amount of time that I really wanted to into the project to make it that. But I think with the multiple rooms and such, it ended up working out as a like it's not the most Metroidvania thing, but it's you know, it has all of the elements needed for if I wanted to, you know, continue the process, I could make it that, right? Working from here, I could make the rest of the game as intended. And, like, you know, that's really what the sort of prototype is for. It's that, you know, it's there to be the, you know, thing that makes the. I've lost all my words. Yeah, that's what it's there for. It's to be there to, you know, function and look good and, you know, be good. I don't know. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with how this has turned out. I would want to do more and fix a lot more bugs. Um, One of the things that is a pretty large bug is if you press shift and move around, it's in the grappling mode, so you're very slippery and are following grappling controls, which is not exactly what I wanted. And if I could have more time, I would fix that. But yeah, overall, pretty happy.